Hey, what's up, guys? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Today we have the midweek edition of the Pocket Change Market Report for December 1st, 2022. This is a day delayed because I had done the Monday Market Report. That was also delayed because of issues on Great Collections site regarding their servers, so it pushed back all of my content by 1 to 2 days. So now you're getting it, and then you're going to get another one on Saturday, because I think it's high time that we talk about what you guys need to be looking for and selling right now while the iron is hot. You got to strike that puppy as hard as you can. It's insane the amount of bidding activity that's going on right now. People are looking for coins of any dollar value, and just the coins that we have here today. And normally, you guys know my midweek edition, I toned it down a little bit. It's not 30, 35, 40 coins. We have 25 lots that we talk about in the midweek edition. But all 25, all kind of like falling into place within the last 24 hours, where generally any other time of the year, we see that kind of activity spread out over 2 to 3 days. So, a lot more condensed bidding activity. People are getting in their collecting needs and desires out there front and forward. A lot of folks are picking up brand new errors that bear the dates of 2020 to 2022. The market is just really, really receptive to these coins, and it shows. Another big piece of news. Someone had found what could possibly be the first notable error to be found on the May Wong quarter. How does it stack up with all of the other neat errors found on other American women quarters this year? We're going to talk about it. It's interesting, but at the same time, we got to use a little bit of cautious optimism with this coin. Are there other ones like it? We'll talk about it. So before we jump in, a few of the kind of like common household items that we're going to talk about. None of the coins are graded, of course. That just adds this unneeded expense for these. Especially if you're using PCGS, which is one of the biggest graders out there today. They charge $60 to $65 just for error attribution. So if you're trying to grade out that coin that has typically a value of like 15, 20 bucks, it's really not going to add a whole lot of premium unless it's like a super insane high grade. And oftentimes that simply just isn't the case. The coins sell for themselves. And another thing that we're going to point out as well is that all the coins listed today are all original photos direct from the seller's listings. I didn't juice anything. I didn't, modify anything. So you're going to get the best and the worst of the photography here today, but it just goes to show you how dare I say it, the bar is set really low on the qualifications when it comes to your images for reselling. You're going to find that you really don't have to do much based off of some of these sales. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. We have a little piece of currency action for you, but this is exactly a great example of something that you should be looking out for. Okay, even if you could care less about paper money in general. I know some people are like that. They're all about the coinage, the physical monetary money, metal, as opposed to paper money, which, some people have said, well, they're probably better off being used as toilet paper, especially with inflation that we're dealing with today. But hey, how about turning a $1 bill into $20? That sounds pretty good. It's almost like a magic trick. There's really nothing to it at all. Just look at the serial number on this one and you'll see why. This is what they call a fancy serial number. It's both a binary and a repeater. All right, so it's kind of like a dual fancy, which is pretty neat. But also note the condition of the note. This thing has changed many hands over its lifetime. The series date, by the way, is the 1977. Quick little note regarding paper money, fancy serial number, or birthday note kind of hunting. You're going to experience a lot more potential by going through $1s and $2 bills. The lower the denomination, the more the profit margin will be in the long run. I know folks have found pretty neat serial numbers and stuff like that on like $50 and $100 bill notes, and you're just not going to be able to sell it for what you want to because the denomination's just so darn high. So this one right here, again, sold for $20.60. Great looking note. I would be a seller all day long, as long as I know the serial numbers are interesting. And people do collect these. There's actually a large collector base for fancy serial numbers. The next one that we have here is, yet again, it's a minor variety, but this is something that maybe you should pay attention to regardless. I would venture to guess that a lot of people have overlooked things like this. If you don't have websites like doubledie.com or varietyvista.com or even Copper Coins' website, if you don't have those ready and available at your fingertips, you will lose out on stuff like this. Now, this is a 2012 P minted shield set. This is a doubled die. This is WDDO number 6. The more, I guess, attractive doubling on this is on the word Liberty and not really anywhere else. I mean, look at the date. The date looks relatively normal. There's a little bit of doubling here. I believe this is a Class 9 doubled die, which is not fantastic. Plus, these are from the single squeeze press era. All right, so you're not going to get the dramatic splitting and notching and stuff like that, like we saw back in the 90s. The 1995 FS 101 was one of those type of coins from a bygone era of coin production. So just look at the overall thickness of all these letters in Liberty. In certain areas, like this top loop of the R here, you can see some splitting, and then some kind of like soft notching here on the I in Liberty. This one right here, not a huge sale, but $6.05 was the sale price on this one. All right, so we're revisiting one of the coins that grabbed a little bit of headlines here in 2022, and that's the Sally Ride American Women Quarter with the die clashing. It can only be found on Philadelphia minted examples, so make sure your coin has the P mint mark. A lot of what you're going to look at is some of this clashing here to the right of E pluribus unum. That's actually the chin line area of George Washington's profile that was clashed on that reverse die. You're also going to see this line here as well, but behind Miss Ride's head right here. On the obverse of the coin, there are examples where you can find some of that strike through area on the ponytail. This one appears to not have it, but as far as clashing on the obverse, there's only really two areas to note. This extra line here underneath George Washington's chin, and then also another smaller clashing area under the ear right there. So, I mean, based off of the sale price of this one, which, by the way, was $31.60, and that's with 5 total bids, still a worthwhile find. However, I firmly believe that this coin is much better sold in this kind of condition, which they're still out there. These things didn't get too abused yet. But once that calendar flips into 2023, I think this coin, because of how minor it is in the error community for this date, will end up being one of those coins that's just going to kind of fade away over time. We're not going to see nearly as strong sales for these. So if you got extras, there's probably no harm in just moving on from them to take advantage of the robust market that we're seeing for these. The next one that we have here, again, another one of those coins that really made headlines for this year, 2022 P Wilma Mankiller American Women Quarter. This, of course, has the double-sided ratine cud die breaks. You can see this one here right above Washington's head. I mean, I could talk about these all day long. They're just a really neat coin. A very unlikely type of error that you would find in today's modern technology. This might actually end up being kind of like that last breed. The mint director, Ventress Gibson, had stated that she is tightening up on quality control. And that's probably a good reason why the May Wong and the other quarter that released after Wilma Mankiller, we really didn't see too much in the way of errors, all right, and things of that nature. Is that they are really starting to really tighten that up a little bit as far as quality control. Consider this kind of a cautionary tale. This might actually be the final major error of this generation. Kind of hard to say. I'm really not putting it past the mint to make another screw up. I mean, we do have smoking toms out there that were just minted through the last batch of nickels. So, fool me once on me, fool me twice on you, or whatever that saying is. But anyways, this coin, another big sale, $505.60 was the sale price on this one. The prices starting to kind of settle a little bit lower on these. So again, if you have an abundance of these and you're not really looking to collect and you do need that extra cash, now might be the time to move on from it before the calendar flips to 2023. Pretty neat one here. This looks like an honest cherry pick, from a coin shop or an old collection. This is an 1853 large cent. This one is indeed broadstruck. The rims are a lot fatter and wider and stretched out than normal. The collar obviously was not engaged to keep the coin in the striking chamber during that action, thereby leaving some of the metal flow going outwards. Kind of like pressing your thumb in a ball of Play-Doh. That material just expands from there. $249.95 was the buy price on this one, going to a happy home. There is some condition issues, but again, for the age and the type of error it is, you don't see these that often. Here's another one that ended up making some waves, but not until after the summertime when doubled earrings were a thing. As a matter of fact, this is one of them right here. Maya Angelou, 2022, Philadelphia minted quarter. This one is the VDDR number 1. You can see that extra earring right outside here. This was actually the first reported and attributed doubled earring or doubled die reverse, recognized by Dr. James Wiles. So there, to this day, there's been 5 different doubled die reverses that I am particularly that I know about. 3 of them have been attributed. There's 2 of them that I think are currently with Dr. Wiles or in the process of getting catalog numbers like number 4 and number 5. But number 1 here, we've seen these things kind of drift away in value because of the abundance of them that people have been finding. However, this particular listing might prove people a little bit wrong. $65.60 was the sale price on this coin. Are these things shooting back up, or is just this kind of an anomaly, in the auction? Did someone actually pay this kind of money to own this? Well, I guess we'll see. There will be more going for sale between now and the end of the year. Pretty neat one, but you can tell this one has definitely been pulled out of circulation. 1969S Lincoln Memorial Cent with 2 rim clips. Pretty easy to see right there, but this one right here ended up selling for $20.30. The more clips, the more they're worth. We didn't have too much in the way of actual lots, but here's another lot of 5 Lincoln Memorials. These are all 2001 dated. They're all Philadelphia, and they're all quite nice. They're all off-center by some degree. These, I would imagine, were discovered in a mint-sewn bag back in the day, back when the Federal Reserve Bank was still releasing mint-sewn bags, which they don't do that anymore. They stopped right around 2002. But this 5 coin lot sold for $45. Was there a little opportunity to buy this in the hopes of reselling it? I don't know. It's a tough one. At $9 per coin, there's not a whole lot, here as far as profit. The idea is you want to be able to try and at least double your money. I don't think you could double your money with this particular one. Speaking of good old Smoking Tom, here we go. Here's our first one. We have a couple of them today. We're just going to quickly highlight both from different sellers. 2022 P, minted. These have the field restricted strike through areas. They're either the dual, which is the crazy looking scar through the eye, and this one here, which looks like a puff of smoke coming out of his mouth. This is the dual event. This is the more attractive, more, I guess, heavily pursued coin out of the variants of this particular strike through. I mean, these things, I guess, were discovered right around the end of October, middle of October, and people have not looked back. They're pulling them out of rolls, they're finding them in change, and they're raking these things on the secondary market. Like this one right here ended up selling for $70.60. I mean, this is like one of the highest reported sales of this coin. We got another one here coming up, but yeah, we're going to take a little break and look at this 1999p Georgia statehood quarter. Quite minor, but yeah, it's a little bit of a broad strike. You can see that little bit of a fat lip here, both on both sides. All right, so it's not a misaligned eye or anything like that, but just a really minor broad strike. But still, statehood quarter errors are very attractive on the market. There are a number of people that collect into these and have always done so for years. This one sold for $25, so that's a really solid sale there. Here's the other Smoking Tom. This time, this is just the single event, and yeah, this is a different seller that offered this one. You can see that it does not have the strike through going through the eye to give it that kind of like Scarface look. Just this long, thin strike through right here coming out of Mr. Jefferson's mouth. Therefore, giving it the Smoking Tom nickname. This one ended up also at $70.60 for its sale price. I mean, great looking coins, very interesting. If the strike through was in any other place on the coin, I don't think it would have been nearly as interesting, considering that this long strike through is coming out of his mouth. That, you know, it's really easy to give this one a nickname. And the Smoking Tom, much like the In God We Rust quarter and the few of the other things, you know, it's just incredible to see, and that's going to keep these things popular for a while. Now, this is a really cool one here. I haven't seen one of these in a minute. It's on a 2020 Lincoln Shield set with the bisecting die cracked right on the reverse. Pretty nice. You can see the crack starts between the E and D and United. You do have displacement. If you follow through here on the crack, you'll see the shift of the design details from one side to the other. There is a nice sized raised, what do you call it, interior die break or a die chip right on the crack, and then the crack exits right around the 6 o'clock area of the coin. So again, the reverse die at one point had split to the point where it's probably beyond repair, and you know, there couldn't be a lot of these that were produced. So that makes these kind of a uncommon find and change today. This one ended up selling for $74.60. Just a great find. And the fact that it's on the coin 2 years removed says a lot. You know, the mint was really struggling with quality during the pandemic period, and it shows. Now, I've never personally seen this one. I mean, it's really cool. And based off of where the error is on this coin, it's really easy to miss. But here, hopefully you guys will follow me on this one. 2018p Block Island ATB quarter has some pretty nice strike throughs in these areas. So on this little, I guess, beachside, was a lighthouse, right? That's a lighthouse right there. Strike through with some lines of feeder finger scrapes also in the fields as well. But if you look at the back of the wing and underneath it, some more strike through. There's even a little bit here on the sandbar or whatever you call that. Some feeder finger scrapes. Yeah, this thing, whew, man, this is actually a very cool coin, and glad I was able to chronicle this into PCMR here this week. This one ended up selling for only $9.95. Probably could have sold for a little bit more, but I really don't know what the seller could have done differently to achieve better photos. These are just lights out. So pretty cool. I think because of where they're located on the design of the quarter, they're hard to see, and therefore probably makes it a little bit less of an attractive of a field restricted strike through. Pretty neat one here. At first glance, the seller had mentioned that this is just an off-center nickel, all right? But there's a whole lot more here than meets the eye. This is a 1975D Jefferson nickel. The front of the coin does appear to be off-center, but wow, the back of the coin is not off-center. So with that being said, this is actually a misaligned dies error. That obverse hammer die, struck the obverse a little bit off center, essentially. The die was probably has a little bit of play to it. It was probably just loose in that area on the press. So when it strikes the coins, there is some shift. And if you didn't catch it, yeah, this is actually a clash die as well. You could see all the clashing of Monticello on the obverse here. It's not particularly strong, but you could also see some clashing on the reverse as well. That's the big reason why that this one sold for $79, is it's a dual error, which is really cool. And you don't normally see clash dies on and misaligned dies on the same thing. So this is a really neat piece, and glad the seller was able to get more than what is actually advertised. You don't see these too often. This is a 2001 Rhode Island state quarter. It's a Denver mint out of all things, but yeah, you notice the different coloration on the front and back. You guessed it. This is missing the nickel clad layer on the reverse, showing just strictly copper. That's what we have here. You can tell that the planchet's a little bit thinner. You can see the weakness in the strike in certain areas, along with the rim is a little bit flatter on both sides. But the one telltale kind of giveaway for this is the weight. This example only clocks in at 4.7 grams, while a legitimate actual statehood quarter weighs in at 5.67 grams. So it's a full gram lighter, and that's really because that nickel clad layer is missing. I've seen other examples where the strike is a lot weaker, and that's only because the planchet's thinner. But this is really cool. Glad to see something like this sell for, by the way, $58.30 with 2 bids. Glad to see it sell and not graded, because people look at stuff like this and they'll automatically send it off to one of the major graders. It's kind of like a warm and fuzzy, a reassurance of value. But yeah, it's $50-$60 here for this. That's kind of like, that's solid money. And I would take that all day long, minus the grading. You're going to end up losing on that exchange. Here's another Wilma Mankiller. This time it's just the front side retain cut on this one. This one doesn't have that long crack that goes through the star here, but you do have the retain cut. Haven't seen one of these in a little bit of a while. We've seen a lot of the double-sided retain cuts. So this one right here ended up selling for $355.60. Good looking specimen here, lots of luster, and I would be proud to own something like this. South Carolina statehood quarter, this time on a 2000p. So this Philly minted example shows a phenomenal 15% off-center strike. Good looking coin here. Might have circulated a little bit based off of some of the nicks and wear on the obverse of the coin and in certain areas on the reverse. But still, I mean, this would be a great example for an off-center collection of statehood quarters, which there are a number of people that are pursuing pretty heavily. This one right here ended up selling for $49.99. By the way, that's like really strong amount of money for this. Here's a 1982 small date bronze Lincoln Memorial cent, this time with a cut die break over the motto. I had done a short video on this. It was actually still available through the auction process. It was up to like $35 or something like that. So the final sale price for this bad boy ended up being $93.57 with 29 total bids. This one was uber active in bidding activity, but small date cuds, very difficult, especially the copper-coated zinc variants with a cud. I think there's probably one or two known types, and they're not particularly easy to find. So these are worth a king's ransom on the market. If you have them, you could pretty much ask any amount of money for them. 1972 Lincoln Memorial cent, not the prettiest looking kind of like higher end coin, but what a great variety. This is the doubled die obverse FS 108 Cherry Picker's Guide variety. A lot of your strongest doubling is in the motto "In God We Trust," but if I went back to this frame here, you could actually see some decent doubling on the date and Liberty as well. So make sure you're looking at all these spots on these coins. 1972 it's a dream date to look through because of all of these major doubled die varieties. So look at every one, regardless of the grade, they will all sell for a decent amount of cash. And also from the same seller, we have this 1983p Jefferson nickel. Man, this thing's off center. Probably 20%, if I had to guess, is what the offset is. But note the steps on this one. Ooh, man, that thing is sharp. I would say it's full steps, no doubt about it. So if you did send this off to PCGS, just know it'll probably end up with the FS designation, which on an off-center strike, that could be huge. That's probably the big reason why that a lot of people were gambling on this one. It eventually sold for $131.50 with 3 bids. I've seen 83p nickel off centers sell for like $30-40. So this one went way above and beyond, and I think it has a lot to do with the quality of the strike. You just don't see it for this particular date, and it'll be interesting to see if this one ends up in a graded holder in the near future. Speaking of cool, it's one of my favorites. You always have to look at every 1938S Lincoln wheat cent for the couple of major repunch mid marks. This is the FS. What is this thing? FS 502 RPM number 2. I had to think about it for a second. So it's the S over S over S, triple S punch there. You can see the bottom serif of the first S right poking right through there. Just incredibly dramatic, very nice coin. A lot of these were found probably like 10-15 years ago in BU rolls. So there was an influx of 38 RPMs that came out in the marketplace shortly thereafter, but we're seeing it dry up now. There's not nearly as many, and prices have kind of like reestablished itself for those high-end full red examples. This one, on the other hand, ended up selling for $26.90 with 6 bids. Not a bad amount of money, but, considering that it's not the perfect mid-state red coin, take it any day of the week. 1936 Lincoln wheat cent. I've actually found one of these, so they're pretty cool. I don't think I have my example anymore, but it looks pretty close to this one. Very circulated. I found it in a wheat cent bag, but yeah, this one has a cut die break right here at the base of Lincoln's portrait or bust. You can see the amount of weakness on that same place on the reverse as well, which is what you want to see. This one, whoops. Yeah, you can see that was a spoiler, by the way, of the 1857 Flying Eagle, which is a beautiful coin. But the 36 you see here is sold for $40.67 with 14 bids. Again, cuds always command strong amounts of money. Yeah, there you go. Coins and cards showing off and showing out this week with another great looking coin, 1857 Flying Eagle. This is the Snow 16 variety, which features the the wing die break. You can see that right here. This kind of like, it looks like a boomerang shaped die break, or an interior die break, or a chip. I've seen them just really pop off the wing in a much stronger fashion than this one. But yeah, this one has circulated a little bit, so, it's going to have a little wear. Still ended up as a $232.50 sale with 25 total bids. Beautiful coin. I think one day I will end up owning one of these, mainly for a typeset, and Coins and Cards might be my dealer on this one. So just to let you guys know, I am in the market for one of these. My US typeset is missing a Flying Eagle set. So there you go. Pretty cool. This is our last lot of the week, or today, rather. We still have our Saturday PCMR, which happens in 2 days. But here's a 4-coin lot of nickels and dimes with clips. The 77D on the top right has 2 curved clips in there, while all the other coins have 1. Again, do you see any opportunity to flip these for a little bit of profit? The final sale price was $32.25 with 18 bids. Puts it at about $8 a pop. I'd say it's pretty close. You could probably turn these at $15-20 a piece. I don't know. It's a possibility. This one here is silver, so that helps its cause a little bit. This is a 67, it appears. And then you have a couple more earlier date nickels, and you have the double clip. So with all things considering, you could probably do okay reselling these if you wanted to. But, you look out for stuff like this. You just never know what you're going to find. And then finally, we're going to end it off on the coin of the week, and that's the May Wong quarter, the last American Women quarter of 2022. Whew! People have been hunting and have been coming up goose egging like you would not believe. There's really not been a whole lot of really cool errors from this and the previous coin for this year. I even forgot the name of the thing. That's how uninvolved and uninspiring the actual hunt was for these. But yeah, this is considered the Weeping May Wong by its finder, who is the seller of this coin. Again, guys, take full pictures of the coins and not these types. This is actually photos from the eBay listings. So this is pretty neat. But the thing I question is there going to be another strike through that is going to be in the same spot every time for these coins? You can see the strike through coming off of there. That's either going to be grease, as you would expect from like a feeder finger, or that's a strike through of a wire or something like that. If that's the case, that's pretty much going to shut the door on these as being kind of like a one-shot affair. The likelihood that you'll find other examples with the same strike through coming off of her right eye, that's a tough one to negotiate there. So keep an eye out for these. If you do come across them, let me know. I want to know if there are other ones like this. If that's the case, then that's just a really good sign of progression. And, that's kind of like a normal pulling spot for that grease to form and produce a really, really neat, again, perfectly placed strike through event on these coins. Well, that's it, guys. Go out there, do some hunting. Let me know what you find. If you have any cool stuff that you want to share, go ahead and send us an email with some photos to info@livecoinqa.com. That's our collective Q&A group that we do live streams every Monday. This upcoming Monday is going to be big. This is going to be our holiday giveaway event. Come by and check us out. Save the date. We'll be on 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We might even have a little Christmas music going or something like that. I don't know. But I appreciate you guys. As we kind of conclude 2022, it was kind of a funny year. It really was. A lot of big stuff coming out in circulation, but the U.S. Mint stuff was a little lackluster this year. It's just a really weird year. I feel weird just talking about it. It's just kind of backwards. But yeah, I am greatly appreciative of all of your guys' support. Thank you so much for making this channel what it is today. I love you guys. Don't forget to share and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Feel free to follow my TikTok as well. Blue Ridge Silverhound's the name. We are like 100 followers away from 10,000. That's a pretty big milestone. You know, it only took me a few months too, which is cool. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this one. Best of luck in all of your hunts. Go out there, look through some change whenever you can. People are still depositing their money, getting ready for Christmas, and that time is now. Strike while the iron is hot. See you guys.